All right, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Nemo de Novo with another edition of Nemo in the News and some of my thoughts and feelings on things. So we're gonna address a hot button topic today: gun confiscation, and we're gonna deal with some myths about gun confiscation, with the Aurora shooting, the UN treaty, and an awful lot of people out there who are really fear-mongering things about they're coming for our guns. I'm not saying that is not possible, but I want to give everybody some realities to look at that might debunk the myth, in my opinion, of gun confiscation. So, from a reasonably reliable source, gunpolicy.org, they say there's an estimated 270 million registered firearms in America. And depending upon where you look, there's 80 plus million registered firearms owners. And now keep in mind that most of this only goes back to 1968, the Firearms Control Act of 68, which was sponsored by the NRA, and we won't even delve into that part of this discussion at the moment. We're just going to deal with some very, very simple math. So, if there's 270 million weapons, firearms, guns, whatever you want to use, and let's say, for the sake of argument, because we know our federal government is so efficient, let's look at the cost. Let's say, on average, it's $1,000 cost to the government to bring in each weapon. Well, that would be $270 billion to bring them in, $250 billion. And that's if the government can do it really efficiently. Again, I'm taking a few leaps of faith here, but numbers kind of don't lie. So, if in fact they were to actually go through with this and attempt to do a nationwide gun confiscation, we have to surmise that the only truly efficient way to do this, at least, well, it's how I would do it, if you're going to make sure that you're going to get them all, and we're not going to get into the debate that some are going to slip through and whatnot, what have you, let's deal with some realities here to kind of calm the angst and fear-mongering that is not helping the situation out there. So with each weapon, let's say an aggregate, it's going to take 10 hours, 10 man-hours to bring each weapon in, between paperwork, logistics, staging, travel time, search time, tag them and bag them, and I'll even throw destruction in there. And I'm probably a little low on 10 hours per weapon. That would be 2.7 billion man-hours necessary to bring these weapons in. Now, for the sake of argument, if we're going to do this, obviously the most efficient way for the government to do this would be complete and total martial law, lock down the entire country. I personally believe that's impossible. But in our hypothetical here, if it were possible, let's say it would take 30 million people to accomplish this operation. 10% of the U.S. population would have to be involved in this. 24 million people for security, running round-the-clock shifts to make sure that, you're not leaving your home, you're not burying them in your backyard, you're not escaping to Uncle Frank's and burying it out in his woods, so that we get every single registered weapon in, which would leave 6 million people to do the actual collection. And in the collections, I think it's reasonable that it would be 10 people to a team, which, when we take those, that would be 600,000 teams rolling out across the country to bring in these weapons. So if we have 650 million teams going after 85 million registered gun owners, that's 140 owners per team. And let's say each team is going to spend 5 total hours to deal with each owner. Again, staging, travel time, search time, return time. Again, I think I'm figuring low. We would be looking at a total of 700 hours per team for them to see each of the 140 registered gun owners that they would have to see and return their weapons, providing they still have them and didn't sell them privately, which would complicate the situation. You're looking at 17 and a half weeks, each team working 40 hours. And again, if we're dealing with a government-run operation here, it's not going to run very efficiently. And any of you that have been in the military or worked in the government, well, you probably have a hard time arguing with some of what I'm laying out there. You're 17 and a half weeks. You're looking at 4.5 months where we would have to have the entire country locked down. This is not going to be able to be done by saying, well, we're going to lock down the Northeast, and then the Southeast, and then the Southwest, and then the Northwest. Alaska and Hawaii, well, we'll deal with them later. The reality of this meme that's being pushed certain places, that they're coming for your guns, they're going to take them, is kind of a lot of nonsense. And it does get a lot of people scared. And fear is a paralyzing emotion. Very paralyzing. And right now, all things considered, as it is pretty obvious that our world and our society are spinning out of control and not in a good direction. I think we need some common sense and some rationality in how we look at all of this. Is it possible that they will take a city, lock it down, and attempt to do this to send a message to increase the fear? Yeah, I wouldn't put anything past the people who currently perceive themselves in control of our country. But I also don't see it working out very well. And, there are many people out there who can make a very valid argument that that is exactly what the power structure wants, to create this conflict. Well, that is the exact reason I am doing this. I am a veteran of the United States Army. I am one of the most pro-Second Amendment people you will ever run across. In fact, I have a pretty interesting mantra. If you're going to arm one idiot, you better arm them all, or it's not sporting. I am a complete advocate that there should be next to no gun laws. I don't care if you're a felon. I don't care mental disorders, period. Violence is the ultimate authority. Whether we like this fact or not, it is a fact. And humans, we will never be equal until we all have the equal ability to take another human life. That is about the only thing, from my viewpoint, that will level the playing field for all of us. And again, the true premise of the Second Amendment was not for hunting and not just for self-defense. It was to allow the citizenry to protect themselves from a tyrannical government. Now, our current structure that we call the government does not have much love for the citizens. And if you don't see this, well, then you need to go back to whatever rock it is you're hiding under and enjoy the ride, because it's not going to improve anytime soon. And getting worked into a froth of fear by some of the people out there who benefit off selling this fear porn is not going to help you either. Fear is one of the worst things that you can have in a situation like this, or if things do continue to deteriorate, if it gets worse. Fear is something we need to learn to control. So my point of doing all of this is to ask everyone out there to think for yourselves and think critically, and take a little time like I have here to write the numbers out for yourself and look at other sources. There may be some other sources that say there's less guns, or some that may say more. But just an honest judgment of this. where would the manpower come from? Like, we wouldn't notice 30 million foreign troops if they could come up with that many coming in here. And the time and logistics it would take to do this. Again, I think a lot of my numbers, I think I'm figuring really, really low on a lot of this. So my hope with this is that maybe it gets a few people to settle down a little bit. Think. Now is not the time for rash behavior. And it's getting pretty painfully obvious that through media and a lot of other places, they're looking to force people to act rashly. Patience, calmness, logic is more important now than it ever has been. So compare these numbers for yourself, see what you come up with. Until the next video, got a bunch more coming out. Listen to all, follow none, and think for yourself. This is Nemo de Novo, checking out until next time. Be safe, be well, be a realist. In whatever you do, don't let the fear control you. We have power as a people and as individuals more than we could ever imagine. And right now, more than ever, we need as many calm, rational people as we can get. And if the time comes that we have to do things differently, well, we'll jump off that bridge when we get there. See ya.